Right, but there should be screen sharing.
Yeah, some sort.
So what I was trying to get to do was actually just don't do the tab, just do share my entire screen.
Alright, well, let me kind of just describe it here. So when the tab is open, what we do is we put the tab index of -1 on the outside container. And that's so that a user cannot start tabbing behind the modal window. So that happens a lot with other modal windows. And I can kind of show you one that is not good example. So basically, with the screen reader on now, I can start, as soon as I trigger that dialog, your focus goes right into the first element inside the dialog. And then as you tab through each one, you can get down, back up to the close, and you never get out of this modal window. And that's pretty important for a modal window. You don't ever want to be able to tab through and get behind this modal window to the content beneath.
Sure.
So let's close this kind of. I can show you an example of one that is bad, so you can see how much different it is. So this is Fancy Box. It's a pretty common light box, but if we go down here, I just have a way down there. Oh man, there's a lot of links. Okay. Now this is also a good example of the tabbed containers of what I see a lot, but it's less accessible than adding the ARIA rules in there. So listen to this. If I go, so it said HTML link, but that really isn't a link that goes off to a new page. It's a tab. I mean, I can press it and it'll open it, but it's really kind of misleading to the screen reader. I'm thinking I'm going to go off to a new page, but I don't. And they do not have alt text on their images, so it sounds really strange. So now if I hit enter, I'm on that image. Another bad thing about this is it doesn't have a visible focus indicator on the image that you're on, so I'm just kind of guessing. It's only because I've navigated this page before that I know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to hit enter on this, and it's going to open up their light box. Now if I hit tab, it's just clicking on links behind this. It's not actually, really the only link it should be going to is this close button up here, the close window.
Right, and so now you have absolutely no way of closing this.
Right, I have to either tab all the way down to the very bottom where this might actually be located in the markup to try to find that. But actually you can't even ever do that because this close button up here is a link instead of a button.
Does escape work?
Escape does work.
Okay.
But this button up here to close it has no text in the link either. It's just an image with nothing in there. So you never actually end up landing on there because it's a blank link. So now you can hear how much better this one sounds. It even speaks the name of the dialogue. And I can't really show you the markup too well, but I do have all of these links I'm going to put out on the meetup because this page here is just really awesome. It has all these tools already built out for you, so you can just kind of start to use these instead of things like that fancy box. So it has the dialogue, it has the tabs. So let's take a listen to how these tabs sound with area rules added to them.
Tab property page expanded. Tab control. Box tab selected.
So it tells you a lot of information there. It tells you that the dogs is selected, it's a tab control.
Box property page collapsed. More information about box on Wikipedia link.
And then as I tab, it goes to the links inside that expanded tab.
Tab control. Box tab selected.
And if I want to go to a different tab, I use the arrow keys.
Sheet tab selected. Accessible jQuery UI components demo document. Tab property page expanded. Tab control. Cats tab selected. Cats property page expanded. More information about cats on Wikipedia link.
So it really gives you a lot of information about where you're at on the page and what's happening there. And that's just all because of these area roles.
No. Okay.
The cat is missing after you.
And now you're not doing the full screen, like what are we listening to right now? Is this?
That's NVDA, screen reader.
Okay.
And that's free as well, so you can
So
download that.
how would you get it to actually, it looks like you just skipped over the actual content.
Okay, well that's because every time you hit tab with the screen reader, or even without the screen reader on, it's going to jump to the next element that can gain focus.
Right. Okay.
And since the text cannot, it doesn't read that. But yeah, if I wanted to read the text, I would just hit, let's see.
Cat domestication is a kitten that was buried with it so that 9,500 years ago in Cyprus. Wild cats ferried Silvis Trislinica circa 8000 BC in the Near East.
So you use the arrow keys up and down to read the text, and then tab jumps to the next link or button or anything that is an actionable item.
All right. That's that's the part that always gets me is the actually using the screen.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to, and there's some shortcuts too that will bring up like all of the headers in the document, and so then you can listen to what only all the headers are, and then jump to that. You can listen to what all the links on the entire page are, and then jump to those, so you don't have to tab individually through everything. But if your links aren't labeled and they're empty, then it's not going to really help too much there. Okay, so we've covered the modals, the tabs, the Koreans. I also want to demo this visual area. Let's bring this guy up here.
No, but this jQuery UI, is it, you're saying that the jQuery UI as a library, is it naturally accessible, or is this specially forked?
It's using the jQuery UI, but then it's got all this area added onto it, so it doesn't come free with the jQuery UI, but if you copy the code from here, you would get what you need.
Just getting...
So here it says accessibility changes made to the original tabs. So the original tabs are, here's the regular jQuery tabs, but they don't have that. Let's listen to what that sounds like.
Dog's link.
Dog's link again, just like that other site had.
Cat's link. Sheep link.
So
Application. Dog's link. Click tab to swap between content that is broken. Click tab to swap between cat's link.
So yeah,
Should,
not as good.
so you need this and jQuery UI, or you grab this? Should I be grabbing this for my projects instead of jQuery UI?
Well, you want to download the jQuery UI library, so you have that. But then you would need to go in and like inject these area roles into it, or modify the JavaScript file to just add them in when it builds out the tabs. Let's see, I thought there was a way to, I don't know if you can download them from here. I don't know. Yeah, and there's things like this date picker. Date pickers are notoriously pretty bad.
We'll take nearly the motion. Date picker property page expanded. Date of birth. Edit submenu. Repex table 2016. Date picker Ubuntu ETHFR 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0 1 1 1 April 2016. Date picker region grep link grep.
So it says prev link. I should say like previous, probably prev is kind of weird abbreviation.
Date of birth, red link, red. Next link, next. April 2006, date picture. April 2006, May 2016, table, row 2, first page, column 5.
Okay.
Then pop-up, red next table, today.
More accessible than some that I've seen. This guy. So there's those sites that you can go out and use and just kind of copy their code without having to figure things out on your own. But if you do want to figure some things out on your own, this guy here, Brian Garaventa, he's been blind since age 14, and he overcame this disability to become a highly successful software engineer, developer, entrepreneur. And he created this tool called WAI-ARIA. And when I went to CSUN, he gave a presentation there about it, and that's what the packet you all got was. So I'm just going to show this WAI-ARIA bookmarklet. So you just come out here and you would just drag this button here up to your favorites toolbar. And I have done that already. And then he's got a tutorial. Out here. So say you have, these in the markup are actually, is a list item with links inside, and they want it to act like radio buttons. So the question is, how would you rate this page? But since with radio buttons don't typically look like this, he's created these area roles to make them work. Now, I think you probably could get radio buttons to look like this actually without using ARIA and changing the HTML. I think you could style the labels to look like this, and then you would just get everything for free. And then you could just, that little dot that is the actual radio itself, you could just hide that by moving it off screen. And then you can, of course, still tab to each of these, and it would work. I don't think you would need to go through all this effort, but just as an example, he's using this as a radio button example. So let's load. So I'm going to click on the bookmarklet, my bookmark. And now that it's loaded, it visually tells us what we're missing with our area roles. So since this is a radio group, it requires children with the role of radio in there, and they're missing right now. And also, it's missing which item is checked. And then if you need more assistance, you can click this button up here, the area roles, matrices. Oh. And this goes off to a pretty nice document that he's also organized, where it tells you every single role and optional attributes that you can add to it. So it's a really good reference to learn what these things are doing. And here, if you've got a question about what the difference between these items is, you can click that, and it takes you out to the W3C specification for that. And then it kind of gives you some more information about that, when you would use it, why you would use it, and what that kind of does. So then as we go to the next page, we'll load visual area on this one. So now we've made some corrections to this, but if we use the keyboard with it, we'll see that you can't actually make a selection with any of these. You can't actually hit enter on any of them, but you can with the mouse. So then you try to figure out, well, why is that happening? So you load the visual area again. So then you go out and you make that change.
Still doesn't work.
No.
It's still incomplete.
Mm-hmm. So it says arrow should move focus. I should turn on the So this is the complete example.
Complete 6. How will you rate this page? Grouping list 2 your radio button checked.
So now it gives you all that information.
Rate area radios complete 6 Google Chrome with rate area radios. How will you rate this page? Grouping list Fluid radio button checked. Fluid radio button checked.
It automatically checks, just like a real radio list would now. So you don't have to hit enter or anything. As you go down with the arrow keys,
button checked. Harvey, radio button checked.
it checks them.
Rate area radios complete 6 Google Chrome with Google Chrome.
And then that's just all doing just the ARIA. Just by adding the ARIA roles.
Yes.
No extra JavaScript or anything.
Would that be confusing though if you're tabbing through those and maybe it sounds like all of them are checked?
Well, that's the same thing that happens with the real radio buttons though, as well. Once you land on a radio button group, you use the arrow keys to go down to the next one instead of tab. You usually use tab to get to the next active element, but once you're in like a set, to make like a selection, like those tab lists or the radio button lists, you use the arrows to cycle through them.
It is the same thing. It says check for joining as you.
Yeah, and it says the same thing
Because
it's selected as you go down. And once you're done, once you've selected the correct one, then you would hit tab to get out of there. Once you hear that, yeah, that's the option I want, then instead of going down to the next one, you hit tab to skip on out of there and go to the next question.
Okay.
And that's just something you have to learn.
Yeah, that's just learning the screen reader.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But people who are fluent with it, they know.
They know.
Yeah.
How you do it? I put something with check boxes.
Check those are the same deal then, yeah. You cycle through with the arrow and yeah. So let's put this back up. Okay. So that was just a really quick overview, but these other links are really helpful as well. That one we kind of already looked at for a minute, that one at the top there that listed out all the different roles and states and properties you could possibly put on any element. So I really recommend that one. If you have to just pick one of these, because the documentation on the W3C is pretty long and wordy, and they have like it written in so many different places, like multiple times. So that first one would really be the one I'd look at. And then I also have the links in there for that bookmarklet. There's another one called Accessibility Viewer that does a similar thing where it'll look at your page. I haven't used that one yet though, so if you try it out, let me know how it is. But I know that Paciello group is really reputable and trustworthy, so I'm sure that's a pretty good program as well. And then I have the links there for those pre-made ARIA widgets. If you don't want to figure those out for yourself, you can just go on there and use those. There's a lot of practical examples on that second one and the third one too. But that first one is the one that I showed you, and that one has some really solid ones. And then I was gonna let you know about this t-shirt design that we have available. If you would like one, let me know what color you like and the size. We'll have those available for the next May meetup, which is actually the Global Accessibility Awareness Day.
Cool.
So that's a pretty big deal. It's the 5th annual one. And I want to, I will have a new computer by then, so I won't have as many technical difficulties with getting the screencasting stuff to work. And I'd like to take the site and go through an accessibility audit on it and show you kind of the techniques that I used for that. I'm going to use some automated tools and also do some manual testing. So maybe even if you want to, if you have laptops, bring them for that as well, so you can help and do some testing yourself as well. And I would like to have some sites to do this with. It'd be nice to do it as a charity for some site that really needs it. We can pick, some local site around, and then we can give them the findings, or if it's a site that you're working on and you know that you can make the changes to it, that'd be nice as well. But anyway, I just really like to see a site benefit from this experience and have it get updated and make it so more people can access it. That's really all I had for today.
Well, thank you so much.